Hey everybody, do you have love handles and want to get rid of them? Or have you seen them in other people and you never want to get them? Then stay with me at this video throughout the whole length of this video, because I'm going to give you my attack plan, my war plan, how to destroy love handles. And I'm going to show you how somebody has reduced their love handles in 3 months working with me. Photographs and what those look like by MRI. That's right. I'm going to show you the inside of love handles, how they look from the inside out. They look pretty gross from the outside. They're even worse on the inside. So if you don't want to have that look and you want to look more like this, then stay with me through this whole video the whole way so you can understand it. Well, let's begin with an MRI so we can see what they look like inside and where they are. So this is sliced through the abdomen. Uh-oh, that's the belly button. See that little area? That's how you can tell where we are. Okay, we're right in the abdomen, and all that white stuff inside is visceral fat, which I'm constantly harping about. Your best biomarker for optimizing your health. Nothing will improve human beings more than eliminating that visceral fat, because I've studied it for years now, going on about 10 years. So I am the world's expert at eliminating visceral fat. I know how to do it. I'm motivated, and this is my passion, to eliminate chronic disease, this stuff here. So where are the love handles? This enormous area of fat right here. But something very interesting about love handles is that they're made up of predominantly deep subcutaneous fat, which we see always corresponds to visceral fat. So the more visceral fat you have, the more deep subcutaneous fat, and so the larger your love handles. If you got love handles, you got visceral fat. Bad. And you need to be aware of it. Even if you got a little bit of love handles, you've got visceral fat and it's bad and you need to get rid of it. But this guy has a huge amount. So where's the deep subcutaneous fat? See that black line right there? That separates deep subcutaneous fat from the superficial subcutaneous fat. You know what's the good fat? There's lots of differences between fat. Okay, there's many fat depots, many areas of fat in the body. Deep subcutaneous fat corresponds to visceral fat. They're bad players. They cause inflammation. They secrete these inflammatory molecules, just like the fatty deposition, human marbling, and legs. And we'll get into that in the muscle. Okay, but deep subcutaneous fat is the bad stuff, and it's associated with cardiovascular disease, fatty liver disease, and chronic disease in general. And this stuff is the good stuff that secretes a molecule called adiponectin. So you want more of that. This client has barely any of the good stuff and tons of the bad stuff because he's got so much visceral fat. So you don't want to look like that. You don't want to have that kind of an image. So what do you want to look like? All right, you want to have this kind of a scan, very little visceral fat, okay? Huge amount of visceral fat, huge love handles, okay? Look at these enormous love handles, but look how small the love handles are on this guy. He's an Olympic sprinter. He's got the smallest love handles I've ever seen. He's got the smallest visceral fat I've ever seen. He's got the smallest amount of human marbling I've ever seen. He eats clean and he sprints. He's doing like everything right. He's done it for years. So this guy, A+ on everything. This guy, solid Fs on everything. Enormous deep subcutaneous fat, enormous love handles. It's all the same story. Chronic disease throughout the body if you bother to take a look at it. So you do not want this fatty infiltrating your muscles, and they correspond to those love handles. So make you aware by doing these particular images. And let's take a look now at a series of photographs. Okay, this is how this person working with me eliminated their love handles in just 3 months. Okay, July the 4th, look at their love handles pushing out here. July 27th, their love handles are smaller. September 13th, smaller. And finally, 3 months, look at how much more they've eliminated their love handles. How did they do it? By following my strategies, okay? Big time, they switched from running, distance running, to sprinting. So that's a real big change. They're now fasting. They're eating carnivore, and they're eating ferments, so fermented vegetables and fermented fruits, and it had this tremendous effect in just 3 months. Wouldn't you like to eliminate your visceral fat if you had bulges out on your side like this guy? By the way, He's only 26 years old. So wouldn't you like to eliminate your love handles in just 3 months? So let's take a look at his MRI scan. So his love handles were not as bad as the other guy, but he still had them. And this is his deep subcutaneous fat. So he mostly was deep subcutaneous fat here and a little bit of this adiponectin. So, and we see that a lot in runners. Unfortunately, distance runners have very little of the superficial subcutaneous fat, and they tend to have a lot of visceral fat, or at least they appear to have a difficult time in eliminating. Oftentimes, runners carb and really into carbohydrates, and a lot of fruit and rice and things like that. So this client turned things around, and I'm looking forward to scanning them and being able to show how much more they have eliminated those love handles. All right, let's see if we can blow this up a little bit. Isn't this fun? Well, we may not be able to blow it up. Oh, there it is. Now we can blow it up. So this person here was a runner too, and they were filled with visceral fat, and they had deep subcutaneous fat, big love handles, and look at their visceral fat, how it was reduced in just 2 months. Okay, it wasn't 3 months, so it was less than 2 months, just over a month. And their deep subcutaneous fat dramatically improved in that 2 months. So I've been looking at this thing for years, and I only recently realized just what an impact. That's the only change he did here was sprinting. There was nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. Just stopped running and started sprinting, and he had a dramatic reduction in his deep subcutaneous fat. So I highly recommend, if you got love handles, that you need to stop running and switch your form of exercise to deep subcutaneous to sprinting, so that you can have the benefit of eliminating your love handles and your visceral fat. All right, here are my strategies, my war plan. I promise you at the beginning of this video, how to declare and attack your love handles. These are the strategies I recommend. If you can't do, all my strategies, and you can't come work with me, this is what you want to do, okay? So right away, you want to eat clean. No processed foods. Processed foods do not believe the people that a calorie is a calorie. Crazy. Just pay attention. Okay, I'm 60 years old. Look at how those people look when they're 60. See if you want to follow that advice, okay? Follow old men and old women with gray hair that look good and perform well. Because when it comes to how you look, when you're younger, it's more about genetics and that's why they probably look good when they're young. But when it comes to being old and looking good, it's more about how you lived, okay? So don't listen to that crowd that's telling you to eat processed foods. Doesn't matter, calories, calories. No, it's not. It's quality, not quantity. So eat clean, nothing processed. And I'll come out and say something that's a little bit controversial, probably for some of my followers, because they know I am a carnivore physician. I eat meat. Most of my calories are consumed from eating meat. But I do eat some vegetables and fruit, but only if they're fermented. That's what I like to do. I do recommend it. I do feel that eliminating those carbohydrates is that important, that you should be fermenting any sources of carbohydrates to reduce them while keeping the nutritional value, and also eliminating the harmful substances, the phthalates, the oxalates, the lectins, and these other substances that are inflammatory and problematic, I believe, for the human gastrointestinal tract. So you can eat whole food plant-based, and you can eat vegan. I have seen this where people have eliminated visceral fat and eliminating their love handles, eating that way. If they do other things, they gotta eliminate those carbohydrates. So I'm not gonna say it's completely black and white. It's not a light switch, except for your decision to wanna optimize your health. But there are a lot of strategies to continue to improve your health. So, if you're out there and you're vegan and you're whole food plant-based, you can follow my strategies and you will get better, okay? You will continue to improve. So But you got to cut out that processed foods, though, because that's really what I see. Vegans and people eating whole food, plant-based, coming to me in Mediterranean diet, they just eating pasta and bread, and olive oil with the bread. Oh my God! And they're filled with visceral fat. Cut out all that crap, and then that visceral fat goes away in those love handles. All right, so fermented foods, okay? Obviously keto and carnivore, okay? You should not be eating, can't eat anything processed when you're carnivore, 100% carnivore, okay? For goodness sakes. And keto, you should not be eating anything processed. If you're yo-yoing, succumbing to going up and down your weights and you get all these cravings, it's because you're eating these processed foods and mostly carbohydrates. So fermented foods, okay? That's what you should be consuming in small amounts as a garnish when you eat your main meal, which should be predominantly meat-based. And you're eating them not for food, but for their microbial value, okay? Not for their nutritional value. The magic is in the microbes, these incredibly beneficial microbes that can actually start to reside in your gastrointestinal tract of your body when you start eating these fermented foods. And they attack the cravings. They help get rid of cravings for the bad guys, okay? So eat that fermented food, kefir, fermented yogurt, aged cheeses, okay? Old world cheese, the kind that come in those wedge shapes, blue cheeses, roqueforts, gorgonzolas, aged goudas, aged cheddars. These things are awesome. Not in large quantities, just as a garnish, so you get the microbial benefit of those foods. And then sauerkraut, kvass, and kimchi. These are wonderful fermented vegetables that have very, very beneficial microbes in them. And then as far as exercise goes, the number one, my favorite exercise of all times is sprinting. And it's my favorite exercise to get rid of love handles. Okay, that's what this young man did get rid, this 26-year-old, get rid of his love handles is a lot of sprinting. And that burned up that visceral fat. And that's why that Olympic sprinter has got the lowest amount of love handles I've ever seen, the lowest amount of visceral fat I've ever seen, the healthiest abdominal scan I've ever seen, and is because he's a sprinter. And then exercise, okay? You want to exercise in a particular way. If you can't sprint, then you want to do maximum intensity exercise. Let me give you an idea of what that maximum intensity exercise looks like. It can be revealed by maximum effort in a very short period of time that gets you extremely winded, not just breathing heavier, extremely winded. So let me show you an example of me extremely winded when I do a pseudo sprint on an exercise machine against a lot of resistance, and I work out for just 1 minute. Now, we're not going to stare at this exercise video for 1 minute, while I'm exercising. We're just going to do about 10 seconds of me exercising, and we're going to stare about 20 seconds of me afterwards. So just keep in mind, I've exercised for, if you're only 1 minute in this particular exercise, here I am in the end. I got blood flow restriction bands. I got my cool man shoes on. And now check out how winded I am. Look at me, my heaving chest, okay? I got so much CO2, I got to blow that out to try to correct my low pH. Now look how, that's how you want to be, that winded. And I don't get scared. And don't turn it into a light switch. Well, I can't exercise that hard, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, fine. If that's how you're going to look at life, black and white, you're not going to be able to enjoy life. The point is, start somewhere and work your way up to that. You think I started at that point? Zero chance. Zero chance. I worked my way up to it by optimizing myself and getting rid of visceral fat. And that's how, Sean O'Meara at age 60 can do this kind of really, really intensive exercise quite easily. Better than I ever could in my life. So I just want to give you that example. The defining feature there is really being winded, not just heavier breathing, but you are heaving your chest. You're working all your intercostal muscles, your diaphragm, excurting down maximally, okay? That's what you want to get to in a short period of time. All right, the next thing you want to do is extended fasting. That means a long time. You want to do about 48 to 96 hours straight. So I'll do the math for you. That's 2 to 4 days straight, 0 calorie, okay? No calories. I drink a little bit of water with a little bit of like sauerkraut brine or a little organic apple cider vinegar, like maybe a half gallon with a tablespoon, no calories in there, just the benefit of those microbes to sip on, because we would have been drinking creek water, river water, stream water, lake water, ocean water. We would have gotten those microbes in it. So we still need to get it. Homo sapiens are optimized through our microbiomes, and we're just too clean. Everybody's like, oh, no, drink out of streams. Well, today they're polluted, but back then they weren't. But we're missing those microbes, so you got to figure out where you get them. That's why I am constantly preaching fermented foods. Get this microbiome optimization. All right, the other thing you do is a dry finish sauna, okay? Not the infrared kind, not a big supporter of that. I'm more of a traditionalist, a dry finish, kind of the hot rocks. And you want to do that about 15, 20 minutes a day, 4 to 7 days a week, reduces dementia. In one study, largest study looking at it, astounding 65%. 65% reduction in dementia and a 53% reduction in mortality from heart attacks and strokes when you do that. It's dose dependent. So if you only do it 1 to 2 times a week, it was a 20% reduction in mortality. But if you do 4 to 7 times, over 50%. And all-cause mortality dropped from all forms of death, 45%. So it's really a great thing to be doing that sauna. I do it every single day. And then I recommend supplements, okay? Because if you can do these things, you're going to have an increased requirement of your electrolytes, okay? Now, in the old days, we didn't have to worry about these supplements because it was present in our water. But today, our water is horrible, our diets are horrible, and so supplementation is a beneficial thing. So I recommend magnesium glycinate, I recommend potassium gluconate, and I recommend ancient salts, okay, like pink Himalayan salt or Redmond's real salt is actually my favorite. No financial niches. One thing you'll never hear from me is code Dr. Sean. Not going to do it. Because when I talk about something, it's because I like it, not because I'm making some scratch from it. Why? Because we need to believe in people on the internet that are doing this to truly help humanity. That's why I'm doing it, not for the scratch. Now, I do make a little bit of money trying to make ends meet. You know, I got to provide for myself, but it's not going to be because I'm going to endorse something. I'm going to endorse it because I think it's good. So Redmond's real salt, I think is good. It's my favorite salt right now, and I recommend it. So the other supplement I recommend you supplement with is NAC, N-acetylcysteine. So NAC is an interesting thing in studies. It was shown to have a significant effect on the elimination of visceral fat. And so because visceral fat correlates with deep subcutaneous fat, which is what love handles are, I'm going to put my reputation, stake my reputation, put it online and say you should take NAC to help you get rid of your love handles and help you get rid of visceral fat. So NAC is an interesting thing. The other thing I recommend is sunshine. Getting out in sunshine to increase your nitric oxide, increase your blood flow, increase your vitamin D, increase your melatonin at nighttime from your exposure to sunshine. It's just an awesome thing. You'll sleep much better. So I had one of the best night's sleep I've ever had last night, 2 hours in watching that sunset go down. I stayed out there and it just really optimized my melatonin. So I went to bed. I was so tired. I didn't take my magnesium. I didn't take anything. I just crawled in my bed and I slept until 5 o'clock, which is like almost a reportable event because usually I get up about 4 a.m. So I slept quite a bit later than I normally do. So that was good, that sunset. The other thing is good old-fashioned sex, okay? Sex with your spouse, your significant other, so you have the benefit of oxytocin. So you're contributing to the gene pool, reproductive benefits. You know, nature wants to help you if you're involved in that kind of activity, bonding, oxytocin, the love hormone. It's really, really awesome stuff to optimize your health. So I'm throwing it in there for love handles as part of the strategies to get rid of them. And photos. Okay, what do I mean by photos? All right, let's go back to those photos. You remember these photographs here, and the 26-year-old that got rid of his love handles here back on July 4th, and here they are July 27th, and now September 13th, and then just October the 2nd. How he eliminated his love handles, you know, with the sprinting, going carnivore, eating ferments, and the sauna, and doing my strategy. So This photograph doing this process helps to reinforce that they're being eliminated. And importantly, it reinforces what you're doing. If you don't track these things, you're doing all these things and you're not doing photograph and tracking these things, particularly through ways that you engage your senses, you're going to lose the magic of reinforcement that you get through your senses taking a look at that. And that's the problem with cholesterol. Cholesterol is a number. It doesn't engage and titillate your senses like when you see your photographs of your visceral fat or your deep subcutaneous fat and your love handles being eliminated. So a good example of this is what I see on a daily basis when I work out in the gym. There's young men and women in their teenagers and early 20s, and they're flexing in front of the mirrors and they're taking selfies and photographs of it. It's awesome stuff. And I hear complaints about it online. These people are arrogant, they're narcissistic. No, it's nature. Nature rewards you with better results if you're tracking and engaging in your senses. If you just eliminated that, reduced your muscle improvements to just a numeric number, you're not going to get those gains. Nobody's going to go and lift heavy weights for increased numbers. You're going to go lift heavy weights to look better, feel better, and perform better. So photographing you taking selfies is a good way to do that. So I encourage young people to do that. Old people that are critical of it, it's because they're not lifting, they're not doing those things, and they don't like seeing other people doing that which is beneficial, okay? And taking photographs and selfies is beneficial, to reinforce that good behavior. So do it with your love handles and watch them go away. And it's going to make it easier when you're doing these strategies. All right, so hopefully you understand that. And I'm just going to go back and make sure, if you haven't already, take a screenshot of those strategies, okay? And if you can't see it because it's small, you have to blow it up, okay? You can blow up those photographs. People are always saying, I can't read it, they're too small. Well, blow it up. Get somebody without a lot of gray hair to help you expand that, through edit function, and you'll be able to see that list. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a like, okay? Thumbs up. And if you like this content and you like my other videos, subscribe to me, okay? So the more subscribers I get, the more YouTube shares this, gets shared with other people and gets passed around. Then I can reach more people with this health optimizing and life optimizing message and content that I'm trying to get out there. My mission to reverse chronic disease, sharing this awesome content with you, all free. And so please also share this with other people, forward it to other people that could benefit from my content. Let them be aware of it and help them to endorse this content to them so that they can start following me and learn about this as well. So as always, if you are interested, these things, the strategies I gave you will reverse these love handles and reverse visceral fat. But if you really want to get the very best results in a shorter period of time, then I'm the best in the world to work with this, my team and I. And so consider working with me. Come to my website. I can't work with everybody, so I am selective. Most people I can't work with, but I look for people that are very motivated, and you have to be willing to come to Minneapolis, where I am a licensed physician, to work with me so I can order these MRIs on you, and I can give you one-on-one to help you optimize and be a part of the greatest clients in the world. I got the best clients in the world. All right, well, thank you very much for holding out with me in this video, and I will look for you on another optimizing video.